Good morning, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 at 9 in the morning. Beginning our day, having a discussion with the Vermont lumber dealers. And we have Bill Smith from the Lumber Dealers Association is going to tee it up and introduce members that want to speak with us. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Bill Smith, I'm the lobby for the Vermont Retail Lumber Dealers Association, your local building supply companies that do design work and provide supplies to our construction industry around the state, around the region. And they are very active partners with the local career technical education centers, always have been, both as potential employers and potential customers coming out of those schools. So they work with them from 11th grade on or earlier. We'd like it to be earlier, as we discussed in the committee in the past. This year, their focus, of course, is on their tech centers and finding ways to improve the provision of those career pathways to our young Vermonters. Obviously, this works into the need for new housing and need for people to stay in Vermont, have good jobs. These folks do all of that. They have for centuries, some of them. And you've got in the room with you, you've got companies that have been in business for over 150 years. You have companies that have been transferred to new owners, came into Vermont to put down some roots here and keep businesses going. You've got female business leaders in the industry. You've got young people in the industry. You've got a whole range of folks here with you today. So these are the folks that know CTE as well as anyone in the state, and they live it every day. So having said that, I understand you folks might be getting a bill from the Senate soon that we support, which is 313. It's sort of an aspirational bill, so that's what we want to do with CTE in the state. But I understand you might have some rulemaking that could be improve that bill a little bit and support that as well, most likely. So having said that, Jeremy Baker from Arcade Models is here to start things off.
Great. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate the opportunity to sit before you. This is going to be my last meeting as chair of the legislative committee. And what I want to do is start off by thanking Chair Marcotte. You've always been in our corner. You've always supported a lot of the things that we support. I thank everybody else as well, but I wanted to have an opportunity at least one time to say thank you for what you've done and continue to do.
Oh, thank you. We're in the same boat.
Yeah.
This is my last too.
Oh, really? What time are we meeting after? So my name's Jeremy Baker. He talked about all the people that are here and all of their different experiences. I'm an accidental in this industry. I don't really belong, but I've stuck with it for a while. And what I have found is that the group of people that you have sitting around you, they're the ones that know the business better. So I'm not going to take a lot of time talking. I'm going to refer and dig deeper my time to them. But the first thing I would like to do is when it comes to H313, my understanding is currently it's an intention. Is that correct? So it's an intention that's going to come to you for review. I don't think it would take us long to come to agreement in the entire room. Everybody's probably going to have very similar opinions about it and how important it is. But I wanted to expand on what it could possibly help solve. Nothing's going to be solved overnight or even maybe within the next 5 years, but we have to start because we're already at a disadvantage. So we talk a lot about affordable housing in the state. I think that affordable housing is a word that gets used a little too often and inaccurately. What's affordable to me is probably different than what's affordable to most everybody in the room. So I did some research. I don't like having things in front of me because that means I have to read and I can't just talk, but I'm going to read anyways. So according to the latest statewide housing assessments, Vermont needs tens of thousands of new homes to reach adequate housing supply and improve affordability. So in the short term need, in the next 5 years, Vermont needs about 24 to 36,000 additional year-round homes by 2029. That equals roughly 4,800 to 7,200 new homes per year for stable housing market. Medium-term target to address housing and workforce needs by 2030, which isn't that far away, the state would need around 41,000 additional homes. The long-term, pass them around. Okay. The long-term projection by 2050, which I will no longer be working, hopefully, I'll be retiring, estimates that Vermont may need up to 172,000 additional homes, which is a staggering number. But like I said, we've got to start somewhere. So that averages about 7,000 new homes per year for the next 25 years. And how does that compare to the current construction? Vermont issued 2,456 permits for homes in 2023, which is far below the 7,000 that we need. So the simple takeaway here is 24 to 36,000 homes are needed in the next 5 years just to address the current shortage. 172,000 homes may be needed by 2050. So I think we can understand how workforce development can play a role in addressing that. I think it's pretty simple when you look at the numbers. So let's talk a little bit about the demographics of the state. I think if you look around the room, you're probably going to see, if we added up all the ages and divided by the number that are here, we're going to come up with about the average age of Vermonters, which is one of the oldest states in the country. Our current average Vermonter is about 43 to 44 years old. The most surprising and concerning portion of that is that 17% of our residents are under 18. That's a pretty low percentage in my mind. 18 to 64, that's 60%. And then 65 and older is 22 to 23. So those under 18 being 17%, we'll get to why that's important soon. And then to go on further, Bill's favorite saying, I'm going to steal it from him, but why Vermont is older than most states. The first thing that's listed is many young adults move out for jobs or school. So what's Vermont's largest export? It's not maple syrup. Anybody want to guess? Yes, it's our youth.
Yeah.
So again, I think we can begin to make the correlation between how important the CTE programs are to the state to keeping kids that are going to become productive members of society in the state and address other issues that I've stated. And the state historically attracts retirees and older residents. That I don't see that that's an issue, but it has one of the lowest birth rates in the US. So we're simply not growing. I think what we saw during COVID was an anomaly. In 2020, we saw a slight decrease in population. And then in 2021, I think it was over 6,000 people flocked to the state to get away from everything that they thought they should get away from. They wanted to be in Vermont in a rural community. And we've seen that start to go down where now we're losing everything that we gained from a population perspective we've lost. So because of this, Vermont has one of the oldest populations in the country. No offense to the older people, because we're all going to get there if we're lucky. And it's around the third highest median age among all states. So now specifically with workforce development, estimates from Vermont Housing and Workforce Studies suggest the state will need thousands of additional skilled trades workers, which is what we're hoping for with the CTE program to develop. That's how we're going to meet the affordable housing construction targets. Vermont's housing plan calls for 41,000 homes by 2030, which equals 8,200 homes per year. The trades workers that are going to be needed to build these homes. So if the housing target is 82 homes a year, the workers needed per year is 16,400 workers. So where are we at right now? Vermont currently has about 15,000 workers, and there are several that are retiring and aging out of that. Because many of those workers are already busy with infrastructure, commercial projects, and renovations, the effective workforce available for new housing is far smaller, creating a major shortage. So an example of the trade shortage is state labor projections highlight large needs in specific trades, such as 4,270 carpenters, 930 plumbers, 550 electricians. All of those can be achieved by continuing with the CTE and supporting. Additionally, around 2,000 construction workers leave the workforce each year, as I stated earlier. And the simple takeaway here is 16,000 plus construction workers would be needed annually for housing production alone. Vermont needs several thousand additional trade workers, estimated between 3,000 and 7,000 to realistically meet the housing targets. So if you look at H313, there's an intent, and then hopefully there's action taken. Without being disrespectful, I believe that the action needs to be taken sooner rather than later, because the longer we wait, the more complex this issue becomes and the numbers start to grow, and they're going to grow to a rate that's not achievable. And we're going to be, we're going to be coming here and meeting with folks like yourself for the next 10 years, talking about this. So I think that the time is now. I believe that the population of Vermont understands most of what I've already gone over because it's been given to them in several different formats. The governor has been very outspoken about the housing shortage, as well as his workforce development support. So with that, I will open it up to any discussion among our group or questions from you. Where you think we fit in, how you think we fit in, where you guys think you fit in.
Any questions for Jeremy?
Yeah,
Thank you so much for all of that. I
trying to go as fast as I could.
see it in green. One question that always comes up for me is marketing and recruiting.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest challenges that we also have is, you know, we have, you know, certainly a proportion of young people who are interested in going into the place and another proportion of young people that need to be.
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that you guys started the Building Bright Future.
Yes.
And how's that been going? How are you finding your recruitment?
I'm going to defer to Claudia because Claudia does not like to take the credit and she never will. But Claudia is the one that is the driving force behind Bright Future. So I would love to hand that question to Claudia.
Morning, always good to see you.
I think you're testifying next, right?
I am,
So let's.
You want to wait for that? Okay.
When you come up and.
I believe I think I'm.
Yeah.
But I will just say it's going very well. And our attendance continues to grow. And it may get to a point where we can no longer hold it at the facility we do, which is the Randolph campus of the Vermont State University system. Is there any, I'll ask a question. Do you think that there will be any opposition to any portion of H313 or S313 when it comes to you?
I think the issue before us is the governance.
Okay,
How do we, what will be the governance for CTE? I think what we're looking at here probably aligns with 313. But we're looking at, you know, down the road and down the road for some areas might be not long and others it might be long. But when we start looking at regionalizing high schools,
Mhm.
then how do we create these high schools so that they're an fully integrated regional high school so that there's no difference between CTE and math or CTE and science, that it's all combined into one high school. And that CTE is just part of the curriculum. It's not a separate,
right.
you go here and you go there. And, you know, a few of us have been to St. Johnsbury and had discussions with them and
Sure.
they're an integrated, even though they're an independent school, they are fully integrated and it's really seamless for the students to be able to move in and out of Tech Center. And so that's what we're looking at trying to create.
So they've set kind of the example that, or the model that you would like to see throughout the state.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, perhaps this would be a good time to introduce the folks around the room. We all have name tags, but.
Sure.
I just make one comment to that
Oh, yes.
marketing point.
Oh, that's, yeah.
I just thought that when I was reading the S313, the two sections that stood out to me were 21B, addressing barriers to transportation, and then 21D, no student being on the wait list when there are viable programs. So yes, there's a marketing funnel issue that we could definitely promote, right, futures otherwise. But my understanding, I joined the advisory meeting over at Hennepin Career Center. They've got I think you're aware of this, but they've got capacity, and then you've got 150 students rejected because there's no capacity down in Rutland.
Yeah.
And it's really just a shot outside now. That's resources for transportation, scheduling difficulties, et cetera. But even before we address putting more people in the funnel, there's pretty low hanging fruit to get the people that are interested into a program. So I just think those are the most important parts of this.
Good point. Well, once you start the introduction, then.
Oh, man. I really shot myself in the foot. My name's Andrew No. I am at Goodrow Lumber in East Middlebury. My business partner, James, and I joined up, we bought the business July of 24. So we're getting our feet under us still, lots to learn, but it's been an exciting industry to be a part of. And yeah, honored to be here.
I'm Lou Flanagan. I'm the manager of Crystal in Bronx.
Sean Beal, I work with Francis, and Bill, I got my first side of things, you're on there.
You know
You
what?
already know, yeah.
My name is Francis Falzowski. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for the parent organization. We represent the entire Northeast for the lumber building materials industry. Our members are all family owned or independently operated. We don't represent big corporate players. And across the Northeast, our members look largely like this. We also operate an educational foundation that provides workforce development to upskill the workforce. Programs all across the Northeast, trainings. Starting a job, a career in our industry usually starts well above minimum wage in the yard, doesn't need a degree or formal education. And from there, through the foundation, we upskill them by training them on blueprint reading, sales, forklift and crane certification, and many other programs that really uplift the workforce and give them a career that can give them a lifelong, pathway.
The certifications that you provide, are they registered with the state?
They're mostly federal, so the crane is federal OSHA. Forklift varies state to state in some situations, but it's also matched.
OSHA in Vermont, it's all over the board with Massachusetts, that also has an additional hoisting license that you have to acquire. But Vermont is just OSHA.
Lance Allen, formerly a long-standing, over 100-year business here in Vermont of Allen Lumber Company, about 8 miles to Florida. And now I work for them and the outside too.
Brian Moses, my family owns Britton Lumber Company in Fairleigh, Vermont. We're a wholesale manufacturer and supplier to retailers that you see in the room. Approximately 50 of our 90 employees live in Vermont.
Mark Tremblay, General Manager of RK Miles location in Vermont.
Katie Gallagher, I'm with Huber Engineered Woods. We're a engineered wood manufacturing company based regionally in northern Maine. So I cover New Hampshire and Vermont, and I'm an associate director on board with VRLDA here supporting our retail members.
I think it should be noted that we're all in direct competition with each other. Now, I don't know how many people come before you that are as unified as we are, but I wanted to make that point, like, we should be enemies, so we're friends.
So, seems how you,
I think I just lost all my friends.
Claudia?
I'm Claudia Holman. I work for Bethel Mills. We are the oldest continuously running lumber yard in the country, for which we are very proud. I am also the president of the VRLDA, but more importantly, I am the chair of the Education and Workforce Development Committee on that board, and that is where my passion is.
Have any of you ever visited Bethel Mills? They're,
You have, yeah.
yes.
I live there.
Yeah.
That facility. I mean, if anybody ever has a chance,
Please come, just give me a
yeah,
buzz.
it's truly amazing. It's
Love to
a,
have you.
it's a Vermont example of, I'm going to do this with or without support. I love the story there.
Good morning, Patrick St. Lawrence, Valley Building Supply, Rutland and Ludlow. We are a New Hampshire-based company, but have the 2 locations with a little over 40 employees at the 2 locations.
It's certainly good to meet you all and put in face to the names, and I guess I'll have the committee do the same. So I'm Mike Marcotte, I'm from Coventry, but in the Northeast Kingdom, and I'm chair of the committee.
I'm Edie Granning. I live in Jericho, represent Jericho and Underhill, and I'm the vice chair.
I'm Abby Duke. I represent part of Burlington.
Herb Olson, representing Bristol, Lunken, and Starksboro, and a customer of Goodrow Lumber since about 1973. Also, I share my business with RK Miles.
Okay, nice, you're very diplomatic. Almost like a politician.
No barriers.
I'm Emily Paris Duncan. I represent Wilmington, Whitingham, Halifax. I grew up in Rutland, spent a lot of time at the Valley. And WW is also helping me build my house, and RK Miles, I lived in a house full of your lumber, so thank you very much for all
So
your work.
Ed Droop, the owner of WW, was gonna be with us today, but he's not feeling well, so,
That's great. I'll start going around.
yeah.
I'm Dave Bosch from Rutland too. I live in Clarendon, represent Wallingford, Clarendon, West Rutland, and a large portion of Rutland town, so the valleys I recognize. And I am retired from working for you folks for 39 plus years, the US Forest Service.
I thought that's what, yes.
Green Mountain National Forest. We started out in California. A healthy forest is a managed forest.
That's right. Sustainable yield.
I'm Tony Nicholas. I'm from Milton. I represent Route 7 Corridor, Milton, and Georgia south of the interstate.
Everybody had these big, long things. Michael Booton from Berry City.
Monique Priestley, Bradford, Fairleigh, West Fairleigh, Sebastian.
Kirk White, Bethel, Rochester, Stockbridge, and Hancock. I went to school with some of the Durfee family.
Great people.
One for Bethel Mills.
And we're all together. Well, I do want, what year did Bethel Mill start?
1781.
79.
Yes,
Yes.
we've been in business since 1781. My first job was to go through the deeds, and the deeds from the Marsh family to the Washburns had trees, from this tree, and referenced chickens, and it was quite fun to try to decipher that. So we've been around a long time.
17.
And as you can see,
Yeah,
based on the handout, we have about 5,000 employees between all of us in the state of Vermont. You want to start the next round?
Any other questions? Jeremy?
You don't do anything.
Claudia, would you like
So
to
yeah, if
join
you'd
us?
like me to speak to Bright Futures, I really would be happy to. And I would love to see you
Go right up to the-
opportunity to go more.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And with all sincerity, it is always an honor to come before you. I appreciate your service. And I would like to talk a little bit about how we've been serving the community. It is our goal to run beside you. And that's actually what changed this board. We went from our labels of Bethel Mills, La Valley, RK, Goodrow, Curtis, to the VRLBA. So when you see us at an event, you will see us united because we're all facing the same issue, right? And we need to address that issue. We want kids to be and stay and have good lives in the state. So let's talk about Bright Futures. Bright Futures, I actually got people who asked me in advance of when it would be. Last year was wonderful. The governor came and helped us hand out what we call the Shining Star Award. It's one student from each school chosen either by their peers, depending on the teacher, or the teacher for their shine, something that they've done that stood out. And we give them a fully loaded tool belt as an award. I'll tell you a little bit about the actual presentation. The children come this year right now, as of today, I've got 170 signed up. By the time we launch, there'll be over 200, probably about 225 students. They're coming from all over the state. I am trying to get Dr. Howell to come from St. Johnsbury. I did meet with her about 3 or 4 months ago, and I'll talk about that just a second. But they actually come from that far away. They come from Annisburg Falls, Bradford, and they come from Bennington. So they're all coming to the Vermont State College Randolph campus. We then divide them into groups, and that's the biggest part. And if anyone wants to come and walk with a group of students, I would welcome you. I'll leave my card because the biggest part of this is mentoring. You do not need to be in the field. You need to be someone who wants to walk with these children, who wants to tell them that there's a place for them, maybe talk about your own story, and let them know that they matter. We have a lot of kids that we see with that baseball cap down and their heads down. I want to lift them up, right? That's the whole point. I want to lift them up. I want them to be here. We want them to be here. I don't mean to say. So we divide them up with their mentors and we send them out, and we have all types of different presentations from some of the big companies. They have hands-on construction projects. They build some decks. They do some zip tape, which is one of Katie's best products. Have our equipment. We show them a boom truck and a Moffett, a little sample of that. This year we have an oddball, a gentleman named Scott Roth. The governor recommended him. He grew up in Hancock. I live in Rochester, and Scott is making high-end custom cars. Went to the trade school. I think it was Randolph Tech that he went to, and he went to trade school. And he's making high-end cars in Milton. And if you look up Roth Speed, you'll be amazed at the artistic nature of this man and the attention to detail. And he's a trade school graduate. And he's come back to build here. And so I want to have his story put forward to the kids. It's a success story. He says he's going to bring a car and that he'll let the kids sit in it. And I want to make sure that all of us got to sit in it too. And so you'll be welcome. So he's a new person coming on. The Department of Labor comes, as well as the college. This year we have a gentleman coming from the Vermont Construction Academy. They are a new organization out of Winooski. And what they do is offer apprenticeship programs. They are in collaboration with the Builders Association. So Ross Lavoie, who you might know, will be coming down to speak to the students about other options. We have an actual presentation, which is what happens after high school. So DOL comes, they do a great job. Ross will now come, this will be his first year finish college because they have that opportunity to see that there are many avenues. We have another great presentation that is AutoCAD. So we have one of our designers come and he creates a kitchen for them, and they're able to see that it's not just about swinging a hammer or working on the counter, but that there are architectural design elements as well as working. So we're speaking to everyone. Additionally, right now, some of the new things that are happening in the industry are tools. We have a lot of tools now that are making it easier for people who are of small stature to come into the business, which I love. We actually have a tool, I don't know if you call it a tool, but we have a tool that helps you take your arms out in order to hold things up like a piece of sheetrock. That's an innovative piece. We have jacks that allow us to hang a door by ourselves. That's addressing labor. And we have this other cool thing. Right, isn't that great? We're gonna do a demo on that with the kids, because that's something that we want them to see, that they can come in, no matter what size they are. You don't have to be, somebody that can lift a piece of sheetrock. God bless you if you are. But my point being that we do show these innovative pieces. So I'm very happy that we get response right away. Teachers give us a lot of good input, and I'm excited for another year. But I am even more excited this year, or at least equally excited. I'm always excited, in case you haven't noticed, about a new program, because we as a board had determined that we really needed to get to the younger kids, right? That's our next step, was the middle school kids. Because what's happened, the kids are coming in ninth grade, and we asked them last year, if you had an opportunity to be in this program a little bit earlier, would you? And they all raised their hand and said yes. And really, I think 90% responded that way. And so Vermont Construction Academy has agreed to host a program. I have 2 middle schools coming. It is a pilot program. I'm coming from Bethel and from Randolph. and they will be coming in, and we're going to begin with building science. So we'll present the ZIP system, and we'll talk about building, with wood that gets warped and teach the science which you were speaking to. We're going to do some work with squares, speed squares and math, perhaps a level. And I have a box that I have at the hotel where we're having lunch that contractors have made, and we're going to actually have them build this little box. And we're going to do a little bit of plumbing, and we're going to finish it by saying, bringing one of my kitchen and bath designers in, or anyone's kitchen and bath designers, saying, someone came to us with this box that they built in 7th grade. And they loved this box. They kept the trinkets in it. They did this with it. And they want to build a kitchen around this box that they made. And we're going to have the kids help us design the kitchen around their box. And the beauty of this habitat program is that it will come out 3-dimensional as if you're standing in it. And what you can do is you can say, quite sure I like that yellow cabinet. I want it to be green. And in the flick of a button, it turns green. Advanced technology, safety, valuable product. The lumber industry and the trades represents real work, real opportunity, and real pathways to a comfortable life. All of us here have businesses that offer profit sharing, pensions, vacation. We pay well. We are above competitive wage. We pay for training. Health insurance, life insurance. Bethel Mills has a full term, long-term and short-term disability. And life insurance, it's 2 times your salary. So these are good jobs. We are a diverse organization. We have women, we have everybody in our companies. And so we do want the kids to stay. Maybe not lumber, maybe contracting, another great opportunity, maybe manufacturing or wholesale or sales. So that's what we're doing right now. I would love for you to come. Not for me so much, but for the kids. Your presence really makes a difference to them and to their teachers. And so it is April 2nd, as you can see. Best time to come if you want to walk with the kids is about 9 o'clock, 9:30 when the groups come, and I can pair you up. And if you just like to see the enthusiasm, then about 11:30 when the pizza is served, we will have gluten-free and also gluten so that everybody can be accommodated. Ross will be speaking. We do hope the governor will come. We have invited Zoe Saunders as well. And I was told yesterday that the chief academic officer, I think is Ennis, is the last name perhaps, is that right? May be coming as well. So again, we invite you, and I would love any feedback or anything you might want to say that you feel we can implement. But after the middle schoolers gets off, we're going to, I hope that's going to be at least quarterly event with VCA. My board doesn't know that yet. But I just had that happen yesterday. But I'm sure that they will approve it. We will help to provide transportation for the kids to get to these events. And then we'll stick with them. But then the next step will be people who are actually older that have not gone into the workforce that maybe need to be redirected, because in speaking with the Department of Labor, there are still many people who somehow got sidetracked, right? And they didn't have opportunity. So I will say that Andrew represents a younger person who has come into Vermont and purchased Goodrow, an owner of Goodrow with his partner. He saw great light and opportunity here in this state. So again, that's another thing that we want to promote, are these young people coming into our industry and to other industries that are similar. So that's what I got, and I'm very excited about it.
And she's also got a full-time job.
I do want to speak to that. I will gut Bethel Mills on April 2nd. Literally, we will have a skeleton crew. And I have actually people, we got hats for the kids, and so I don't do that. That's Jeremy's things. He tells me what to buy. I know then somebody does that. But my point being that we, as a board, but then behind us, you come with a whole onslaught of people from all over. You come with another, everyone here brings onslaughts of people to this event. Our companies, it's not just us, our companies support this effort. And again, if there's some way that we might help you in your endeavors to get CT, I love your idea of one-stop shop. Right, math, English, all rolled in. Wow, if that could happen, I'll retire. But that's what we want to do. We want to help you to help the state. So that's what I have to say. Any questions? You want to come? You've been before, actually.
I have, I'd love to go again, go see what the chair says.
A few years ago, we did come down.
I think you made it. You voluntold everybody on this committee that they were going, if I remember it correctly.
You know.
Yeah, you made it a priority.
We do
Field
what's on the
trip.
agenda. What's on the agenda is what we do.
Yeah. And we've appreciated that over the years. I will add that when Governor Scott, he agreed to come last year, we were not certain what type of an impact he would have on the students, because, some kids probably, we assume this, some kids probably don't even know who the man is or what he does or anything about politics or state government. And we weren't sure how long he would stay.
5 minutes.
We were told like 5 minutes, like you guys understand. I mean, time is a valuable commodity. How long did he stay?
Well, he's there over an hour.
Yeah. And he helped hand out and the kids were just so engaged with him and so appreciative of him coming. So to echo Claudia's sentiment, and any of you that have any interest, they would certainly appreciate that, because going back to when I was in high school, when there was horse and buggy, the trades, that was always viewed as the outcasts. And shame on me and shame on my parents for creating that environment, but I believe we're getting away from that now. I don't think that exists anymore. I hope it doesn't exist anymore. If anybody here has hired a plumber or an electrician lately to work on their house, you understand how much money they make, and rightfully so. It's a skilled trade. So I think that, the more these kids see an opportunity, the better. The more they see support, the better. And the more they see the future of possibly staying in Vermont, it's also important. We can't keep exporting our kids.
Can I ask a question? The model that you're speaking about is, how far out is that? If you think in 3 years, do we have to build in order to get that? Yeah.
It's a significant investment.
But you feel you'll get buy-in, I would think so.
Yeah, like everything, it's the dollars that are gonna be the difficult. That and we need buy-in from communities to accept a bigger regionalization of their high schools than what we have now. So, there's a lot of talk that has to take place and a lot of understanding of how do we find the money to do it as well.
And I would be happy to talk to the communities. I'll tell you a funny story about John Derby. It's my boss, mine's father. So he's on the school board for 20 years. And I don't know if you know where Bethel Gilead is. Like Bethel Gilead is about 3 miles from where the new school is. And he had to go to people and say, we're going to be consolidating and going to have to go 3 miles down the road. And he didn't say that. And they said, John, you want us to send our kids all the way down there? And he said it was one of the most deep conversations that he had ever had to have. But it did happen, and that school was viable for a very long time. So happy to come in to at least Bethel, although without you. So.
To also thank you so much for all that information. I love all the work that you're doing. But it also occurs to me that in some ways we're kind of getting back to a tradition in Vermont. Like I grew up in Rutland. I went to Rutland Public Schools and still had, home ec and mechanics and woodworking. And and I think when we're talking about some of these, like just getting kids started programs, like those are some of the things that we need to reinvest in. And maybe those programs won't necessarily take as long to get going as a full regional high school, but we can start with these introductory things. Like, I learned how to swing a hammer when I was 5. You know, like, they're important life skills. And they also help you maintain your house, so. Very helpful.
Carolyn Brannigan was my life skills teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
May sixth, and I will send that out, it'll have a flyer on it, but May sixth at Vermont Construction Academy in Winooski will be the pilot program, which could be a dollar, say that, because the first Bright Futures was a little bit of a yawner. I kind of put them in a classroom,
Yeah.
we did, but
Held hostage for half a day.
yeah, and they wanted to come back anyway, so that was good, but that would be great to have input, because I agree with you, and if we could do that 4 times a year, with 2 schools each time, he could fit 40. Just to introduce them, so then they say to their parents, this is really fun, Mom, this is really interesting. And go from there, that's how the seed comes.
Absolutely.
I might add one thing to the marketing side, but I feel that there's still a culture that kids have to go to college. So real life case here, I have 15-year-old twins. They are going to the same high school that I graduated from 35 years ago. And I was told 35 years ago, if you want to be an accountant, you need to leave Vermont. You need to go to the cities. So recently they had a college night at school, open to parents, to kids, sophomores through seniors. There was email blasts 3 times within a 4-week period, advertising. Last Friday, they had a career day. Nothing. Kids came home and told me about it after. There was one general contractor there. There was nursing programs, bankers. Not to discredit banks and nursing and anything else, but the trades still aren't getting the emphasis. They're not being offered to these kids.
And not for nothing, going to college or not, these are life skills.
Yeah,
You still gotta know, like, they're good, important skills to know.
The most influential parts, I believe, are the guidance counselors.
Yeah.
They can, in the realm of college, it's the way to go for some, even the way to go. But like Jeremy said, electrical and plumbing and these jobs are just, the opportunities are.
And they're very technical.
Yeah.
Like, they're becoming incredibly technical jobs. There's a lot of know-how that's not just, laying wire or whatever it is. So, yeah, I agree.
The end of the cul-de-sac of every neighborhood used to be a lawyer, doctor. Now it's a CDL driver, a plumber. So, and I don't have any problem with that. I think that's where they belong.
Yep.
That's where we need to convince all of the school system that these kids have opportunities that will lead them to that and eventual destination.
I thank you all so much for being here, and I just want to share with you a little bit of what we've been doing, and that CTE has been something that this committee, but also the state, has been trying to figure out how to improve for, at least 20 years. There are some systemic issues, right? Some systems in the state that we keep bumping into, but what you're talking about earlier with Stafford and, moving kids, it's all perfectly legal right now under the law. It's just not happening, right? So there are things that we can do in this body, and there are things that have to happen elsewhere. And we're trying so hard to, point those out and say, we did these things. We need somebody else to do these other things, because we're 17 weeks a year we're here, right? And that's all, that's our, so we so appreciate what you do. We so appreciate this conversation, because it helps us to understand where the gaps are in our understanding and how to engage the community a little bit more in making these changes that have to happen. And we're not ignoring. It's like, please know that, we've spent a good part of this session, a good part of, the last 20 years trying to, you know, make these improvements. And we're now at a point where, as Chair Marcotte said, we have to really change the foundation of education. And, you know, that's not happening only in this room, right? That's happening in this whole building. And there are 4 different structures for how CTE is given, like the structure, the system, the structure in the state of Vermont. In 17 centers, there are 4 different governing structures, and that doesn't work, right? Because then they're not talking to each other, they're all doing things differently. I serve on a regional advisory board in Chittenden County, so I'm deeply familiar with this. And when you're talking about college, a lot of our CTEs are focusing on sending kids to college too. And so then we're also not meeting the kids who need us in those areas, right? And giving them the opportunities that we need filled in the state, right? So it's a win-win when we do it right. And so we're just, you know, again, we're trying to set up systems in a way that there can be success, and it's slow. Valley.
I mean, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, what the vice chair said is important, is that there's areas that we're not looking at that could also be a factor here. For example, Andrew's talking about, I mean, how do you market, like owning a business in Vermont, one of these businesses or a construction business or plumbing or electrician business, how to market that to folks outside to come in and take over a failed rent business that's not gonna have that next generation buy it. How do you get kids to see this isn't about just pounding a 16 penny nail into a 2x6? It's about AutoCAD design. You know, it's about technology, about AI. It's about designing things for customers as well as doing the actual building it and selling the supplies for it. So we need all those pieces firing, whether it's with our commerce secretary reaching out with marketing, people who want to buy businesses, or it's people that tell our kids that, you know, not tell them, suggest to them what's the direction to go in your life. You know, I remember that at Twinsfield High School, right? In the 70s, late and early 80s. I was in the college track, but I was a farmer. That was like really weird for people. Probably was safer for everyone that I went to become a lawyer. It's safer. So what I'm saying is that there's pieces of that for everybody in our state. You've got to have it sounds like this committee is really taking a great role in leadership, moving this forward. And we're committed to that. I don't usually say that to committees, until they don't know. So.
We've got you on recording.
So you need to retract that statement.
No, I don't. I always know I'm being recorded. So I also want to put in your mind, because we're 10 minutes to 10 here, I know you're busy day on the floor. You have to eat lunch, and I was figured we'll give you time for lunch. Over at Cat Plaza, we'll feed you. And then, but I didn't know if any of our members had something that they wanted to share with you. Is there anybody else who wants to, you know? We need to be talking more.
Don't say that to Lang.
So I have a question. So thank you for this and for, I'm really impressed with the work you're doing, and thank you for reaching out to our youth. The sort of cohort I've been thinking about is, I think the acronym is NEAT. They're kids who are not in employment, not in employment, education, or training. So there's sort of a cohort of young people, many of them young men, who you know, are 19, 20 years old, and they're kind of not doing any of this. And so how, I'm curious, sort of anyone in the room's experience kind of reaching that cohort. What are things we can do better? What are like, are you seeing significant sort of deficit of sort of the soft skills for employment, that kind of thing? Sort of a broad question, but it's just sort of trying to think about how do we reach that cohort?
So this is a group that I want to see.
Yeah.
There was a program a few years back that the Attorney General had, kids who had gotten kind of off track and were in trouble, and he had begun to bring them into different job opportunities. I would love to find an organization that has or is working with these children I would invite them and get them to Bright Futures just to begin with. I would give them tours of I would hook them up with Jeremy or anyone in this room as a mentor. So this is a population that, again, what I said, eyes down and eyes come up through relationships, right? Through somebody showing you that you have value. And I say this all the time, they're sick of me saying it. At 20 years old, I wouldn't walk into a public building by myself. You had to blow me out of the water to get me out of the car into my college class. And I had a mentor, he recently passed a year ago. And I'm very grateful to him. So if I can find those kids, if we can find those kids, we will bring them to Bright Futures and bring them as up as we can, whether as they want to be. I hope that helps.
You know, you're talking about now looking at the adult population as well.
Yeah,
So
right,
I would encourage you to touch base with the adult learning centers that 4 around the state. They can be very helpful in identifying people and trying to get those populations employed. You know, they're helping adults with their, you know, trying to get their GEDs, but also teaching them the soft skills they need in order to just get employment. And I think they're always looking for businesses that are willing to work with them and trying to see if they're good fits for some of the people that they're helping.
Well, I will do both. We'll do both. And for the adults, we will figure out how to incorporate that.
Also, the Department of Labor, and they also have some adult programs.
And I'll be speaking with them also. They came last year and they were off the chart. The kids loved them, the teachers loved them, that they had opportunity. They brought all kinds of bling swag, what that is, but they do. And the kids love that, you know, give them a bag, give them a shirt, give them a hat, they love that. But then it also lets them remember, you know, this is somebody who's gonna help me get a job. And also, they're very good at coaching, I noticed, you know, in a very nice, supportive way. Look up.
So how many students do we have? Usually 200?
Last year we had about 200, this year we'll have more,
And
because we have a new school coming in.
we've all been there. How many of those students are on their phone throughout the day?
The teachers usually make them stop being on their phone.
But they don't even need to.
Yeah, no.
We
they're not on
we were
their phone.
concerned about that. At these events, they are engaged and paying attention. They're not on their phone. And that's something that I think is important. So by seeing that from their perspective, that tells me that they are engaged and they want to know more, they want to learn more, they want to be exposed to more. So I think just getting them off their damn phones has been a success.
And along those lines, Jeremy, we had a post-event survey that I think probably, if you were to look at the student population, might not be the top responders to the surveys and feedback, but we got a huge success rate and response rate to suggestions for future events. Kids giving us ideas of where they were actually headed, what programs they were looking into. So there's a level of like inspiration and engagement that does come out of it. That,
Yeah.
It, you know, trailed after the fact when they were going to fill out surveys. So,
We don't pretend to have all the answers. We just want to be a part of the solution. Because you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So we're nibbling.
Yeah, we're a collaborative group. I mean, First Bright Futures was, I'm saying, it's a terrific event. They made it through and we collaborated to create what it is now. It wasn't me, it was us.
Yeah, we don't determine what they want. We listen to them. Then we figure it out.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning. They're calling us to the floor now. I certainly appreciate you all stopping by and chatting with us. Thank you for the invitation for lunch. We'll do our best to get there. And I'll ask Jonathan to put April 2nd down on our agenda planning. So that depending on what's going on that week, maybe it's time for us to take a field trip. So we'll try to come down and
And express if you walked with the kids and they knew that you were part of this, they would And you wouldn't think so, right? Because they don't give you that impression. But the governor really, and then Harrington would come and loved him. And so, and the DOL, like just knowing that you're there for them, wow, that made a big impression. So yes, thank you for considering. I appreciate it.
Great. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, we'll hope you
Good luck
do
today.
lunch.
Thank you. So committee will be back in here, but not sure exactly when. It's still on the floor this afternoon. We'll come back in about 10 minutes after the floor. I think we just need to have a discussion of where people are on CTE. And, you know, we had a couple of language from two different pieces of language. And I think it's time for us to talk about that. So figure out where we're gonna go.